Hello and welcome to the OverShadow ShadowCast with Thomas Anderson, Abigail Mowat.
Hello, everybody.
Abigail Mowat, what are you?
Hyperactive as I've had 2 massive cups of coffee.
She's a hyperactive tech wizard.
Yes.
And I am a rather, I'm sure you can tell, sleepy.
Sleepy man.
I'm a bit of a sleepy host.
Sleepy man.
Yeah. I think I just need to do more practice of this sleep that people
I think
do.
you need to get a sleep pattern down. Go to bed every night at 10 o'clock, wake up every morning at 7. There you go. I've given you your sleep pattern. Stick to that.
I'm just thinking of a line from Austin Powers. How about no?
Just like imagining like some parent like telling their kid, right, go do this, and they're like, how about no? Yeah, I don't think so. Not today.
No.
So we've decided we're going to skip the what have you been playing this week because we started playing a game, but we've not played enough of it because there were issues.
Yeah, there weren't even connection issues really. They were more sort of like
There was when we were trying to talk to each other.
that was on Google Hangouts, but the issue at hand there was more about how the
Because we had 2 different types of game. My one included an expansion pack, and your one didn't because you bought your one a few years ago.
yeah, they started handing out one of the DLC packs for free, but only if you make a purchase since they made.
So we'll talk about it more next week.
It was also that the first time we tried to play it, he just decided to give you a 15 gig patch.
Yeah, that was as soon as I decided to launch the game, I was like, oh, it's updating. He said, how big's the update? 14 gig, roughly. And you just sat there going, no, because even though we've upgraded our internet, it's still slower than yours.
By a lot.
Yeah. It took, about 3 hours for it to update.
Yeah, I mean, that 15 gig took like 10 minutes here. Like 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then after that,
there was much stressing.
Then we tried to make characters, and it forced me to remake a character. What was it, like 3 times, because it kept booting me?
Yeah, but we'll talk about it more next time we talk about it.
Yeah.
So we can go into it more.
I'm just explaining why we haven't played enough. I have also been continuing my playthrough of Crackdown 3, but to be honest, I don't think there's enough to talk about, because I used to fall into that habit of simply talking about a game because I was playing it.
Yeah.
But I think it would be better with this particular game to speak about it once it's done, and I've just got the final boss and a couple of other things to mop up.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I'll do.
Okay. And then the next bit, because we did say last week, I would apologise to you if I got it wrong, and you'd apologise to me if you were the one that got it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to say Member of Scottish Parliament and MSP.
Uh-huh.
And I was convinced I said MSP. You were convinced I said SNP, which is the Scottish National Party.
Uh-huh.
We were both wrong. I said SMP, SMM for Mother P.
As in Scottish Member of Parliament, which is Westminster, not Holyrood.
Yeah, so neither of us need to apologise to each other.
Yes. Let us fist bump anyway. Okay, fist bump, not fist attack violently. See, when you do that, you have to make sure the sets of knuckles line up and connect. You can't just randomly dig your knuckles into a soft, juicy bit of my hand.
Do you want to try it again then? 1, 2, 3. There we go.
That's a bit better. I have cuts on my hands, so you're just punching my cuts.
Sorry.
That's fine.
So we've just got loads of news today.
Yeah, we're going straight to the news section today.
Yeah, because we've got some interesting something that was just sort of really announced a couple of days ago. We found out. Well, you found out and told me about it. About Activision Blizzard, I should say.
Yes, I decided that we should end on a nicer piece of news at the bottom.
Yes.
And it sort of is a nicer piece of news. So I put the not so nice / creepy as hell at the top.
Yes. Now, you told me about, because we talked yesterday about the agenda, and you said, oh, there's another piece of news I want to talk about. And you told me a little bit about it, and then I saw this morning you'd updated the agenda, so I was like, right, I'm going to read a bit more into this before we started. So, I literally Googled just Activision. Just that word. This was all anybody had to talk about, was just all the news items, was just this one story.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of a surprise that something this big hasn't been on actual news. But maybe it has in America. We don't know about it.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But
even though I sound American, I am not.
Yeah, but you'd think other countries would speak about it as well, because one of the things that other countries suffer from because of America is the brain drain. And this is the sort of thing...
What do you mean by brain drain, sorry?
Brain drain is the brightest and best of your nation leaving to go to another one. And you think a news story like this would sort of prevent a couple of them from going, you know?
Yeah.
Would you like to...
Yeah, so this entire thing is about Activision Blizzard.
Activision has been paying their employees to utilise wellness apps.
Yeah, so a wellness app is basically something that can try... There's various different type of wellness apps out there. This one in particular is called Ovia. There's another word after that. I did not note down what other word it is, but I thought you had written both. It's got a 2-worded name.
I only ever heard it referred to as Ovia.
Okay, well, there is Ovia.
And I did search Ovia and it does turn up the app in question.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so Ovia. And Ovia is a specific app which is used for pregnant women.
By pregnant women.
By pregnant women. Well, it's for pregnant women, but it's for pregnant women to use. Or people trying to attempt to get pregnant.
It's also for some degree of family data as well.
Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you want to talk more about the app and then talk into what Activision Blizzard are doing, or do you want to talk about what Activision are doing and what the app is?
No, we'll go app first.
Okay. Well, the app, if you are trying to get pregnant, for example, it can tell you about products that's supposed to help infertility.
Okay.
And things like that, and then also when you are pregnant, it can tell you how big your baby's supposed to be at this stage in your pregnancy. It can give you hints and tips on, like, I think morning sickness and things like that, the nutrition benefits.
Mm-hmm.
You can also input your diet into it.
Yeah. So what data does it take?
It takes in any data you kind of put into it. So it's all user. You could.
But what data does it ask you for to put in? Because it doesn't care what you're watching on TV.
No, your health, what you are doing.
Right, so
your nutrition side of things.
Yeah, so I read that it wasn't just it's appetite, so nutrition, like you said.
Yeah, I have written it down. Include like appetite, toilet breaks, your personal relationship, shall we say. So this is the kind of thing that you could put into it. Like if I had to use the toilet X amount of times today.
The last one confuses me. Yeah, because I don't understand why that's relevant for somebody who's pregnant. What data do they want from that?
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, now, according to the people involved, it's to help make everything easier for pregnant women and their families.
Yeah.
The women are paid, but it's like $1 a day in
vouchers.
It's a
gift card. Yeah, it's $1 gift card a day, which is roughly about 76 pence.
Right, so nothing.
Well, one person did say that the incentive is that that is effectively formula money, or it's like nappy money or diaper money. You can put it towards that. But that's about $30 a month.
Right, but
over 9 months.
Yeah, what I'm saying is but what I'm saying is, does the vouchers allow you to do that?
Allow you to do what, sorry?
Can you go to shops that sell that sort of paraphernalia?
Yeah, that's what one person who used the system did.
Right.
First of all, I thought it was a gift card to Activision.
That would be mental. That would only work if they were like a visitor attraction or something like that,
No, I mean I thought, first of all, because of how I read it, I thought it was a gift card to like the game store or something like that, or to some sort of game store.
No, they don't have. I don't think they have anything like that.
I know, but that's right. That's what it sounded like when I read it.
Okay.
And then I was like, oh no, this must be. I don't know. Must be for one of these. I don't know, for a store. I don't know. I could not find the name of anything it was actually for.
The only thing I ever heard actually said was Subway, but I think that was somebody telling a joke.
Right.
So yeah, the women are paid in 76 pence vouchers per day. And Activision can't see specific data, just randomized aggregate data.
Yeah, so basically it's accumulated data between every employee that uses it.
Yes.
So there's no actual Sally Smith, this is your toilet breaks per day.
Yes.
That fictionalized name, by the way. If there is somebody out there called Sally Smith, I'm just using you as a random name.
So Activision only get to see aggregate data, not specific. Except according to Nicholas Terry, a professor at the Indiana University School of Law, he said this: imposing these rules and minimums, this is in reference to the fact that Activision and the company in question have said that they're obeying all data security law.
Yeah.
He said, imposing these rules and minimums makes sense in theory, but realistically does little to prevent companies from knowing who has what medical issue.
Mm-hmm.
You might as well as put employees' pictures on a bulletin board. He went on to say there's almost no law that controls what data these big companies can access. There isn't much law controlling what they can do with it. So while Activision is saying that it's to help the women and their families,
yeah,
in reality, well, they are a capitalist company whose investors are forcing this decision. So why would they really do it?
Well, it's like I saw somebody had said that it saved the company roughly $1,200 per employee in annual medical costs, this app.
Right, that's the point, is that in reality it's to reduce the risk to companies that pregnancies are
because it, like you say, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you were saying.
I just like to be able to talk for once.
No, I know. That's fine.
Basically, it's saying that, yes, it can also inform the mothers or the fathers of any risks to their babies and things like that, but it also informs the company of risks. Like, say, this is going to cost me more because this baby's going to be in an incubator after it's born. Or also less productive workers because they're more obviously they would be more interested in what's happening with their child.
Right. Well, I think the only this is the issue is that part makes sense for us, and the whole issue of toilet breaks makes sense because if a pregnant woman like triples her toilet breaks, then she's not going to be at her desk as much.
Yeah.
But there's one aspect to this, the biggest really, that doesn't make sense to us. And that is the fact that this is to try and cut down on the medical insurance bills that the company have to pay. Because we don't have that.
No.
So
it's a scary thing.
American employers offer insurance to their employees and family. So for a difficult birth with a difficult start to life for the child, the company has to pay for all that.
Yep. If they have insurance with the company, then yes.
Right.
Otherwise, it's the parents that pay for it, or the parent.
Yes. So in this particular instance, that company is paying for this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that is obviously, they don't want to do that because they're evil. And
well, let's say they have priorities that they have to adhere to. I don't want to outrightly say that they're evil.
Right. Well, in that case, what you're saying is they are legally enforced to be evil.
I didn't say that, he did. Come after him. Don't come after me, please.
Do you see what I'm saying, though, in that fact that
I do see.
They look at an ill child and see their own bottom line, even if that's legally enforced.
It's a really horrible. It's a really horrific thing to think of.
Exactly. So whether or not they legally have to do that, it's still not right.
Yeah. I would also like to point out that this opting into this scheme is completely voluntary. You do not have to do this.
No, but
it is voluntary.
But the problem is, it's voluntary under
it has incentives. It has loads of incentives to it.
Right.
Well, I say 76 pence a day.
So as an expert in ethics, because I did clinical research at university, so
because you're a smart boy.
So ethics are extremely important in that sort of sphere. It's already an ethically iffy position to offer any reimbursement to anybody joining a program of research.
Yeah, especially when you're... Because think about it, any expecting parent is obviously going to be kind of like watching the money coming in and out.
Exactly. You get somebody in a vulnerable position and you basically taunt them with the one thing they want. It's not. It's ethically questionable. That's why you're not allowed to pay actual money.
I cannot imagine having, because the amount of insurance you have to pay for yourself in this country, like car insurance, house insurance, all household insurance, all this kind of stuff, and then putting on top of it health insurance, and especially if you're an expecting mother, because I'd expect that would push up your insurance a little bit more for certain things, wouldn't it?
What?
If you became pregnant, wouldn't that alter your insurance policy or something like that?
Well, no, because your company pays it, so
Okay.
alter their.
I don't know.
Alter their liability,
Okay.
but not yours.
Okay.
So these people are there, and they're in some way vulnerable because you're able to pay them to do something they wouldn't otherwise do. So that's already ethically iffy. But these companies know, when they're saying that we obey with all data safety security laws, that that's sort of a redundant phrase, because in America there basically aren't any.
Mm-hmm.
So they're giving off the impression that they are being secure with the data when they're not.
Yeah, but they've had concerns thrown. Employees have voiced their concerns before, because they've been doing this kind of thing since 2014.
With the babies?
With Fitbit.
Right.
No, there's in 2014 concerns were raised by employees that the company was tracking again using Fitbits, but again I think it was like an amalgamated thing, and then they were also I don't know if they were using financial incentives for that, but they were doing anything from tracking mental health, sleep, diet, autism, and also cancer type of things.
Yes.
So they were monitoring a lot of things.
So there's no real ethical issue with trying to help your staff have a healthy life, and there's no real ethical issue with trying to reduce your own costs per se.
Because I suppose that if you saw that like a lot of your employees were gaining more weight, you'd make an incentive to help them lose that weight. Because overweightness leads to a multitude of possible diseases that you could develop.
You're statistically more likely to develop them.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with that, but the problem comes in when they only do it just to save themselves some money. So they don't actually fix the problem, they just make the problem go away for them.
Yeah.
It's actually ethically much worse because they leave the people in the lurch, as it were. But also, it's ethically iffy that you're saying to people that there's data security and that you're obeying with all those laws when there are no laws.
No.
Or those laws are very weak. And so this data is just open for anybody, really. And you've told them that it's not. Because they wouldn't, if you said, we're going to take this data and it's to help us save money on your medical bills, and the data isn't secure, they wouldn't do it.
No.
So ethically, you're already in the wrong place because you've given the impression deliberately that there's safety and security here when there isn't. So ethically, this is just not great.
No.
And like you said, it's so that they can keep people at their desks, because there's no point in, for example, a woman has to go for a pee an awful lot when she's pregnant. Right, well, move her to a department where that doesn't really matter then. She's going to have a difficult pregnancy because the last 2 children had major complications within the first year, so you were liable for it. Okay, that's fine. Fire her as soon as possible. So they will treat their employees differently based on the data that they get, and it is not randomized aggregate. It can be individual specific data from the sounds of these experts, because you had a couple as well.
Yeah, I had I stupidly didn't note down the names as you're supposed to do, but a couple of other professors from different even states. I actually don't know where Activision Blizzard is based.
Well, you said one was in Texas.
One was in
not
Texas.
there, so
right, and then I can't remember where the other one is. I think the other one was in California.
Could be there. California could be where Activision are.
Yeah, but I was going to say something there. I can't remember what it was.
But yeah, it's not data secure. Activision can do what they want. And the problem is that it's not like getting your employees to use a Fitbit so that they if you get your employees to use a Fitbit, right, by giving them incentives and the data is secured like it would be in the UK or in Europe, at least much more heavily secured than in this instance, then that's ethically okay. There's not really an issue with these companies trying to reduce the costs, but only if they make the problem go away for everybody else, not if they just shunt it to someone else.
But then again, it's like $1,200 a year per employee. For health costs, I don't think it's that much saving.
But for a company like Activision, who's got...
Per employee, I suppose if they're averaging it out.
8,000 employees or something like that.
But, well, it's... I was... because Activision actually have to pay Ovia to access this information.
Yeah.
So Activision are paying out for this. But also, I was just having a read at something else that they said about the femtech market. So Ovia would be classified as femtech. And that's sort of apps that can monitor a woman's menstrual cycles, nutrition, sexual wellness. All of this industry could be worth like about $50 billion by 2025. $50 billion.
Right. So that the ethics of that depend on what the purpose of it is.
Because I was just thinking to myself, it's like, who would be incentivized for this? But then I think to myself, I actually use something like this. I use one myself. I use a bit of femtech, which is on the Fitbit. Though if you're a woman, there's a bit there for you, which tracks a lot of stuff.
Wow.
Which is interesting. Because I didn't think that this would make me think about that, but I was like, wow, could possibly somebody access that information?
See, that's why you have to have strong data security laws.
Which I think they do.
And that's why it's okay.
Yeah.
Because, but in America they don't. So, I mean, you're not going to get fired because of your femtech.
No.
Although I hate that phrase. But...
I think it's pretty cool.
If you use it again, I might fire you. But...
femtech.
Fired.
I'll take all my equipment with me.
No, you won't. Actually, this now belongs to the state.
No, all of this belongs to me.
You're an award of the state because of your insanity. Good day. There's no harm in helping companies save some money by having fitter, healthier employees, as long as everybody's honest about it, because that's when the ethical implications sort of disappear,
Yeah.
The problem is when they do it in this sneaky way. Right, so what were you thinking? What were your thoughts on this? Beyond what we've already thoughted?
It's just my initial reaction was this is just sort of another way to kind of single out pregnant women who decide they're going to have a career and a family. Because this kind of stuff, like, if you're going to take this down the absolutely unethical path, the most unethical path you could possibly take, you can look at this woman's been trying to get pregnant for she's decided, okay, she's going to start getting pregnant, but she's not told HR or whatever. I don't actually know if that's a legal requirement. I don't know if you have to say that, because...
it might be from the point of view of they have to legally take care of you.
Yeah, so I honestly don't know if that's how that works.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying if it didn't, then they can look, well, this person's going to cost us X amount of money in the future. Is how can we get rid of them?
Aye.
That like I'm saying, that's the most unethical path. Then you can look at the most ethical path with, right, okay, we're going to take care of our employees. They're trying to get pregnant. How can we help? Can we discuss with them? Is it that your workload's too stressful? Stress can have an effect on the body. We know this, whether you're male or female, it can have an effect on the body. But also if you're trying to get pregnant, that could also really affect yourself. You're looking at two completely different ethical paths there.
Chickadee check yourself before you affect yourself.
So anyway, that's the two paths that you can sort of go down.
Yeah, ethics isn't necessarily about what you're doing, it's about why you're doing it and the way you do it.
Yeah.
I suppose morality is more about what it is you're actually doing. And looking after these people, getting this data could be ethical and moral, it's just not the way they're doing it. Because I would really like to see, if this stuff does benefit them, I'd like to see them tell us how. Because if it's already saving, is it £917, 12,000
dollars per employee in an annual medical cost, annual medical costs.
Right, so if it's already doing that, why do they keep telling us they're accruing data to help in the future?
I wouldn't know.
Exactly. So,
but I do know that, like, in this country, and I'm saying this country in terms of the UK, because I think this is taken from a UK statistic saying that, if a woman decides to get pregnant, there's a greater chance of her losing her job. It does happen.
Yeah.
It just does.
I don't understand that, because both men and women who want to have careers and families, because, I know people try and say that there's, how should I put this in context to explain what I'm trying to say? I've never really understood this idea that men can just easily have families and they have a job and women have to choose between them. I've never understood having to choose between them, because the women in my life have never had to do that. They've just decided, I'm having both, deal with it. And I've never understood the concept of dads having it easier. Because, women might choose to have families and have a job, as do men. The choice comes after that, when they're 5 and they need you to go to a football game, or you have to be at work, and you choose between your family and your work.
Yes.
And dads have to do that as much as mums. Because I know they're saying... I
think that sometimes, like, I understand where you're coming from. I honestly do.
Well, the point I'm trying to make is that if I know you can sit there and say, yes, well, the mum's just expected to do it and the dad's not. Well, no, because then they're not a dad. If they don't turn up to the stuff, they're not a dad.
They're a donor. Exactly.
So, I suppose that's the difference between a dad and a father, really, I suppose. But that's important. And if they don't do it, then... So, when it comes to this specific punishment of women for trying to be pregnant, I don't understand it, because...
Neither do I. I think it's stupid.
Because a lot of the decisions come later on, and it's specifically about what happens while you're pregnant, and I think that that's a bit disgusting, to be honest, because of... being pregnant's a big deal, but it's also not a big deal. People are pregnant all the time. Imagine how much...
It's a big deal to the individual.
Imagine how much of my grand's technical working life she'd have been pregnant for when she had 7 children. But that was absolutely fine. But now all of a sudden everything's... Check the bottom line. Where's the pence, shilling and pence? Even my brother was telling me, because he did economics, about how big pregnancy is a problem for business. Well, then that's simple. Reorient the entirety of capitalism to suit it.
Yeah.
Because the simple thing is, we've evolved to have babies this way for thousands upon thousands of millions of billions of years. Stop at billions, that's far too long. But you get my point. Capitalism's been around since about the 18th century. We've only had double bookkeeping since about the 15th. This is ridiculous. Stupid.
Yeah.
Just grow a soul and start listening to it. Now do you see where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I do. I know. I always saw where you were coming from. But what? Yeah.
But
I think that, again, sometimes men get a pass on this. When it comes later, women's not so much.
Well, like I said...
Because we've just been conditioned to believe that.
The pass isn't from society that's relevant, it's from the children. And if your dad's never there, they're not going to give you a pass, just like if your mum's never there. So it's not the same. Society might... You might hear, society expects men to do it. Irrelevant. It's the kids that matter. And
no, I understand that. I understand that. I do understand that, and I agree that it's always the kids that matter.
But let's be honest, if there is an element of society that expects men to just stay at work, and women to stay at work as well, from the sounds of it,
yeah,
it's the business part, which, let's be honest, we need to get capitalism under control here.
Yeah.
Because if it's becoming impossible to have a baby, that's a threat to the species.
It is.
It's annoying me.
shall we move on? Because my hyperactive from that coffee is starting to drain away.
Yes.
My energy is starting to drain.
That's absolutely fine.
Thank you.
Shall we move on to the next story?
Borderlands 3.
Okay, go.
So, it was at PAX this year. At the end towards the end of PAX that Borderlands 3 was announced, wasn't it? Or was it last year?
Oh, it was PAX. It was around about PAX.
That it was Borderlands 3 was announced, and it was revealed that on the 13th of September it was going to be released. However, there is a catch to this.
What do you have to catch?
Something that isn't a PC, I think, because PC, it will not be released to everyone. I'll restart that sentence. It was okay in my head. I spoke, it turned to gobbledygook.
Yep, that happens. On you go. Take two.
If you have...
Wait. Take two.
If you have Epic Games on your computer...
If you have the Epic Games shop,
If you have the Epic Games... Epic Games?
That's the...
Epic Games. That's the South African version. Epic Games.
It's the
Epic Games Store.
Launcher, I think.
Yep. On your computer... you can play this on the 13th of September. However, if you have Steam or any other PC, if you buy it from any other place...
Their launchers, you can download both onto any computer. You don't need a Steam PC or a...
I know, but if you don't use Epic Game Store...
Right, okay.
That's what I mean.
Sorry, when you said if you use any other type of computer, I got confused.
Right, my apologies. If you use any other way of buying said games on your PC, and if you are not supporting Epic Games Store, you will have to wait until April 2020 when it will be released to Steam and other...
When's it coming out this year?
September 13th. For console and...
Can you say that the actual way?
What do you mean?
The 13th of September?
The September 13th. 13th of September.
Thank you. So it's a 6-month exclusive?
It's a 6-month exclusive
right.
to Epic Games Store.
Okay, so it's a timed exclusive.
Yes, it is, which has caused a lot of people to be very angry.
Hold on, wait a minute. A lot of people are angry about something.
Yes, a lot of people are very angry.
But this doesn't seem to be remotely important. Do you have to buy the Epic Games Shop launcher?
I think you do.
No, you don't.
No, you don't.
So, if they don't have to spend any more money, this seems to be a pointlessness of getting upset. So why are they upset?
Because Epic Games Store has some issues.
Issues, you say?
Yes, because it was only released in December 2018.
Right.
And there have been some bugs and some issues. Like, for example, the story I read, it said that it was having...
Hold on just 1 second, if I may interrupt you. Is the rest of your notes about how well this works?
It is not. There is one thing.
Okay.
It has issues with the cloud save.
Right, well, that's coming later, because I actually have some information here about a particular individual relating to Borderlands 3. I was wondering if we could go through that first before we go through the problem with... Is that okay?
Okay.
Okay. So...
That's me wiping my hands of it. There you go.
Right, thanks.
Passing it to you.
When Randy Pitchford was made a mayor... A mayor?
A mayor? Where was he made a mayor of?
Oh, man.
Did he have a mayor?
He was made a mayor of a town in Borderlands.
He was made a mayor, and he was made aware of the mayors that people were having over Borderlands.
Yeah. I have a mayor here.
Be a mayor.
Oh.
Through mayor.
Are you going to call it Randy? No. That's a very strange name. What is Randy short for something?
No. You can make it short for Randolph, I guess.
Yes, it'd be Randolph.
But people are actually just called Randy without it being a nickname.
Yeah, I know, but I would call them Randolph just to wind them up. So, Randy Pitchford, CEO of Gearbox, who made Borderlands 3, he was made aware of people being not very, very happy because they review bombed the Borderlands games that were for sale on Steam.
And if you would like to know what review bombed means, it means that they were making off-topic reviews of the games, where many people were doing this.
Yes. So,
and off-topic means that they weren't reviewing the game, they were reviewing other things, like saying that Borderlands, I like this except for Borderlands 3 is not going to be available on Steam, etc.
In Borderlands 1, Borderlands 2, and Borderlands the pre-sequel don't have anything to do with 3 in that way, so therefore review bombing them because of 3's launch criteria is unacceptable.
That is what that means.
So it's review bombing. When Randy Pitchford was made aware of the review bombing, he attacked Steam for not doing anything about the misuse of their review system.
Yes.
Which isn't true, because recently Steam said...
It was last month.
We're going to identify off-topic review bombs and remove.
They were going to remove any off-topic reviews
from the review score. A few hours after Randy Pitchford got upset at Steam removed 4,000 reviews from the review scores for Borderlands 2. The first time that Steam has ever used its new rule. This has since been rolled out across all the Borderlands Borderlands games on Steam.
Yes.
Blah blah.
Blah blah.
So, the interesting thing here is that Randy Pitchford actually originally came out massively in favour of Epic Games and then returned and said, I had nothing to do with this decision to put Borderlands 3 as a timed exclusive on Epic Games.
It was 2K that decided to do this.
Yeah, but...
And the reason that they said that they wanted to do this was to embrace new delivery platforms.
Yeah, well, they just wanted more money because they get more money.
Because Epic Games gives more money to the developers, isn't it? I
think it's 88% of the sale goes to the
developers,
as opposed to like 70 to 80 for Steam. The issue here is, of course, that he has said that he was totally in favour of Epic and then said, I've got nothing to do with it, and then got really angry whenever anybody turns around and says, well, it's weird though that you said you were so in favour of it and now you're saying you had nothing to do with it. We find a struggle to believe that. And he said, well, you can believe whatever conspiracy theories you want, and then something about underpants. I think, I'm not sure. He kind of went a bit off topic. And then he said something about Half-Life 3. Anyway, so...
Back to the room, Tommy.
Yeah,
back to the room.
So some of the issues that people have with Epic Games and why people are getting upset, you mentioned...
The cloud.
Yes. Yeah, so
saving on the cloud. Now, the article I read, I had trouble understanding. Does it actually have a cloud or does it not have a cloud that you can save onto?
It does. I think I've heard that it does have a cloud. It's just that it's not a reliable saving mechanism for it.
No. But I will say this, like... do you want to say any more about Epic Games and the Epic Games Store? Sorry, my apologies.
Yeah. The other thing I've got here is that a big thing that people are worried about is that there's a strong links with a Chinese company called Tencent who invest, and the CEO who owns the company has said that he has total control of the data and it's totally secure, but people are worried that the Chinese company has access to it.
Yeah, so I saw somebody said that there's a conspiracy that there's spyware in this store.
Yes, because the point is that the Chinese company could be forced under Chinese law to hand it over to the Chinese government.
Mm-hmm.
So Chinese government would have people's personal data, which people are not they're not happy about.
Yeah.
And the other big thing is, like you said, the Epic Games Shop isn't ready yet.
Like
it doesn't have a basket.
Right, okay, I didn't actually read that.
To put games in, it doesn't have one. That's part of its long-term development. It didn't launch with a basket, even though you're supposed to be buying stuff from it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not... It's not comparable to Steam. Like, as omnipresent as Steam is, it rules the roost because it's the only one that does what it does as well as it does.
Yeah.
This is a terrible thing.
But what I will say is that I did see people were saying that comparing this to Origin, which is that there was a lot of problems with Origin, and
Origin's a disaster. I mean, we've spoken about that before.
Yeah, but a lot of people were sort of like now praising Origin over Epic Games.
Oh yeah, but...
And there's Epic Games Store, I apologise. Because I know that Epic Games is a thing and Epic Games Store is one other. It's the same thing, but it's a different thing. If you understand what Epic Games is, the company, Epic Games Store is the product from the company, if you will. That people are now focused on the Epic Games Store compared to Origin, and more people are now saying that Origin is better than Epic Games Store.
Yeah, it is, but the
idea is if something came along in about another year or a few months' time, people would be praising Epic Games Store compared to that. People are thinking, would that happen?
Yeah, the issue there though is that people are praising but it still falls apart. Like Origin still has customers who lose all of their saved files. I don't mean save games. I mean like their library disappears.
Mm-hmm.
Like thousands of hours and hundreds of, if not thousands of dollars, pounds, euros disappears because it doesn't work securely. So Steam is the only one that really functions properly. It's the only one you can risk it on. Apart from console, where things work reasonably well.
Well, like, what I have to say to this is if the developers want more money, of course they're going to put a game on a platform that gives them more money if people buy their game. So I don't think this is something wrong with the developers. I don't think they've done anything wrong here. I don't understand why I can understand why people are getting upset, but also I think to myself, there are consoles that have exclusives and they'll be on that console, console for a very long time. So I don't understand why people are getting so upset.
They're getting upset because the publisher is choosing money over customer satisfaction, because the thing works so badly, it does ruin your appreciation of the game. But you could just wait 6 months. It's why they're all timed exclusives.
Yeah. I honestly don't want to fault the developer here.
No, it's not the developer's fault a lot of the time. They're either... The publisher usually makes this decision, and if not, they're really struggling for money, a lot of developers, so I can't really blame them.
Neither can I.
But...
So I think that people are just getting a bit people are overreacting big time to this.
Well, I can understand... If it was a permanent thing, I can get it. I can understand selling something, saying it'll be on Steam, and then people have bought it and it's not. I can understand people getting angry at a change being made really late in the day. But what I don't get... I can understand people being angry at the Epic's Game Shop being rubbish, but what I don't understand is why people are so annoyed at a timed exclusive.
Yeah.
I know it's difficult, but it's 6 more months. And then you're okay. And what happens after that is that people don't give it to Epic because nobody's willing to buy it on Epic. Just wait 6 months.
Yeah, I totally agree. I honestly totally agree.
So get angry, tell them, all that sort of jazz, but don't review bomb the old games.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
Don't not attack the developers, it's not their fault. It just demonstrates that you don't really understand the difference between publisher and developer. Yeah.
So I think we've said our piece on that. Shall we move on to Anthem? Yeah,
so this is more of an open-ended question, which is that, does Anthem's failure benefit BioWare and the wider games development sphere?
Mm-hmm. Now, for people who do not know, we've said it, I think, week in, week out. BioWare is owned by EA, sorry.
Mm-hmm. And EA are one of the devil companies of games development.
His words, not mine. I'm covering my back here.
So it really relates to the game's crunch time, and something referred to specifically in BioWare as BioWare Magic Time, which was the idea that BioWare's reference there was the idea that a lot of their stuff just turned to magic eventually and it would work itself out. Now they've had Andromeda and Anthem where that hasn't happened.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully, because they had massive issues with management,
yeah.
But relating to the other thing, games crunch time is when a game is ramping up to be released. It's called the crunch time because a lot of work has to be done.
Yeah, well, that's not a.
Yeah, but people they'll be doing overtime for no money and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, but that's not just a term which is specific to games. That is a term.
No, but permanent crunch time is.
Permanent crunch time?
Yeah, basically games development companies are now forcing their developers to operate at 100% crunch because previously having a crunch time produced a really good game. Now they're doing it all the time to try and produce games for reduced costs.
So this might actually sort of I think what you're saying is this might push BioWare to part ways with EA.
Well, it might be possible. I don't know if it is. They could just all decide to leave and start their own new company. That would be fantastic. The specific issue here is that they're pushing their workers ridiculously. We're talking about no holiday time. People having to go on holiday just to stop working for a while.
Yeah.
Just to be able to de-stress rather than being given time to do it during their workday. Managerial staff just leaving in droves. People taking holidays for stress and then just not coming back. And the way that it was written in something that I read made it seem like they just disappeared into a forest and never left. It was really strange. Then we never saw them again.
Yeah.
And this is bad for the wider gaming development sphere because they just don't... You can't work like that. You can't use a workforce like a commodity like that. You can't just drain them. You have to care about them.
Yeah. That could be said about any employment as well.
Yes, but not about like, actual resources, like metal. You have to care about them as individuals. They can't be replaced, otherwise BioWare wouldn't have a problem. It has a problem because all of its good staff have left. And it's also like massively reduced teams, no decision making because, the managerial staff were all over the place. It was just a case of push them really hard and hopefully something good works, because it has in the past. Well, now we've got 2 instances where it has completely collapsed on them. So hopefully now the EA, BioWare and the wider gaming development scene will say we have to do something about this because it's not actually helping us financially anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was reading something somewhere and they were saying that there's a good chance even if BioWare sort of leave EA, they might not be able to self-manage.
Because all the good management staff, they might be able to get them back.
Yeah, but they're saying that it might not, because I think that somebody was saying that an EA exec had to sort of come in and convince them that they needed to keep the flying mechanics in Anthem. But then they were saying, well, if they did go, that probably Microsoft would pick them up. Microsoft would be a good idea to pick them up.
Yeah.
Because Microsoft have been picking up talent left, right and centre at the moment.
Yeah, but the hope is that the wider sphere changes to suit as well, because this can't keep going with developers being burned out like this. But specifically to companies like EA, they have some really great IP. They just have to understand that it takes time. They can't keep pushing this sort of stuff out the door. I mean, I was speaking to my brother about this the other day, they were making a Dragon Age 4 and it's going to be a great streamlined single player experience. Mm-hmm. But they made them change it to have live action elements, so that not live action like FMV, but live elements like multiplayer, right? Something that's constantly moving,
right?
So that they could sell like loot boxes and microtransactions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's why they're doing that.
Yeah.
And that's a massive issue for me, because they were going the route they needed to go, and then they've managed to pull them away. I don't know how you do that with Dragon Age. It's the same with Mass Effect. Anything other than single player is just a silliness, but they tried to throw it in anyway, and it's just so annoying. Just make a good single player game, and then make loads of DLC for it.
Yeah, because that's what BioWare were known for. They were known for making great single player games.
Exactly, like great stories. And now they're ruining it again. And apparently they also had a problem with Anthem, where the developers of Anthem would initially say, right, well, we need to talk about Destiny, because Destiny's the most recent game to do this, and they've done it really, really well, and our game's going to be quite similar. He said, no, don't talk about Destiny ever. We just want to do our own thing, so never talk about Destiny. And Brian made the point of, well, that doesn't make sense, because Destiny is a game that's done that very, very, very well. So you need to talk about it so that you learn how to do it as well. It's just silly. It's just silly. It's
like, we're going to make a new car, right? What's the best engine in the world? No, we're not going to look at that. We're going to make up a completely new engine.
We're just going to start from scratch. So how many wheels?
The wheels. Now, everybody knows about round wheels.
Yeah. So I was thinking...
What about square?
I was thinking... No, because that's you've compared to something. I was thinking, right, let's have wheels, right? We all know wheels are round, and everyone's like, oh, good, he's got off to a good start. 4 wheels, and everyone's like, oh, yes, this could go well. 1 at the front, 1 at the back, and 1 at each side. Oh, God. So you just try and turn and the thing just goes...
We won't make it out of rubber. We're going to make it out of wood. So
they're going to be wooden wheels. We're going to have them no suspension, because we don't know what suspension is yet.
Instead of horse-powered engine, unless an engine has horsepower, we're going to make it a horse-driven car.
Yes.
We're going to be basically a cart with 4 wheels.
So what we're going to do is we're going to trap a tiny horse in the engine running on a wheel. Oh, man. So we're going to kidnap ponies. Yeah.
I think we've gone off the rails over the Anthem thing.
But it's just so ridiculous, isn't it? So this is the little story that I said about at the beginning that might be considered a good news story.
Okie dokie.
Sort of quasi-good. Previously we spoke about the Elder Scrolls Blades, the phone game that Bethesda produced. Which
I tried to download onto my tablet, and then it said it wouldn't support it, and by the time I couldn't be bothered putting it on my phone.
So we'll try next week.
Yes.
Bethesda have removed and reduced some of the paywalls. So silver chests only take an hour to open or 12 gems instead of 3 hours or 36 gems. Wooden and epic chests have been added to quest rewards. Epic is the highest tier, I think. So you get wooden, silver, gold and epic.
Mm-hmm.
Gem usage above 11 gems requires additional confirmation, so you cannot use them by mistake.
Mm-hmm.
And increased experience points in the abyss or for floors below your level, so that you level up faster as a character and can get more powers.
Okay.
Removed, because apparently it was quite slow to level up. The town has its own level and you have a level, so this is for yourself. Also, they've removed silver chests from the abyss, so to stop people farming silver chests and instead to use the abyss to level up until they get later on and then get better chests. So if they remove silver chests, logically you have a higher chance of gold or epic if that's what you get from it.
Okay, that's cool.
Thoughts?
Yeah, that sounds alright.
They all sound like improvements.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it still needs work because there's some bugs here or there, but it,
Like being allowed to download it onto a tablet, but not actually being allowed to play it on the tablet.
I don't know how it would check that beforehand.
I don't understand. Well, sometimes there's apps I can download onto my phone, which I can't download onto my tablet.
Maybe your particular tablet can't play it.
I don't know. Maybe.
But yeah, this looks like they've made some quality of life improvements.
Yes.
So that's kind of good.
Yeah, it's
to
good
see a
news
company
story.
making
Yes.
quality of life
It's nice to end
improvements.
on a story like that. So shall
Yeah.
we end it there?
Yes, we shall.
So thank you guys for joining us today. If you'd like to subscribe to our channel, that'd be fantastic. Or leave a comment and like this video.
That would all be absolutely splendiferous.
Brilliant. Yes, you can follow us. You can follow us on Facebook at OverShadow.ShadowCasts, and you can email at us at overshadow.shadowcast@gmail.com. All the links will be left in the description down below. Stop playing with that piece of paper while I'm talking.
You heard her. Oh, you meant me?
Yes.
Sorry.
So would you like to say thank you, and would you like to add anything else to that? Speak, man. Speak. Say goodbye, Tommy.
Goodbye, Tommy.
No.
Sorry. Thanks for listening.
Bye, everybody.
I had fun. Bye.
Bye-bye.